Hi guys, can time we'll work here recording of this. So we, so as I've said, guys, we start off the night, scene ranking and heads into the performance, and sort of stopped by Eva and they're encouraged not to get involved in the NXT in event tonight between the Hawks and and, be, and between the Hawks correct with Williams over for MA and messenger on Evans. They give either the all and we kick off with a power versus power match. Nia um, um, Nia versus Ashley Agent midway for the match with Ashley Agent tries to follow away so but um but ends up being for unstoppable Ash Elijah acts or it or on in the match you see Jacy or Ash or more Ash or Agent trying on the power Nia acts, but acts hits annihilator straight away, hits the second one, and it's the pinfall off of that. Decent match, and as I said in my previous recording before it went out, um, album wasn't pulling my he felt me watching a Nia Jax match after all I thought it was a I thought it was a pretty good match. This one probably in EU on the Nia Jax's best ever matches, but that's not saying much as I'm not a Nia Jax fan. That's well documented in the back. Oh, however, you see, um, um, I'll come back to that in a minute because I want to actually can give actually both women in the match. Nia Jax actually gave a good performance in the match, um, but also as a legend that is hopefully it's not a one and done match. Hopefully Ashley Agent gets a second bite the cherry because she is very good as a powerhouse type. So hopefully she can get a and back and kind of walk back and they could have a series out of this, but you didn't think I'd say anything nice about Nia Jax, but yeah, that is the case. It was a decent enough match, and Nia gets a victory here. I was Timo show edging in the match, but at least I can hold my hands up, even though I'm not a fan of Nia Jax. acts and says he had a good match. In the back, we see Elsie getting Alba Fire Piper and Ethan Agent the Sticky who Avion Height she's tag partner going to be for the X Tag Team actually and then interrogate Kendall Ray Cal Armstrong and somebody else I can't remember but then also interrogate Hank and Tank who are dressed up as um as as Zarya and so but obviously this but it's then it's kind of for on a segment etc. But then we get to the second match of the night. Joe Hendry versus Charlie the MC. Now Charlie the MC is coming out with a friend saying, "Oh, here is heights and on as heights and on have departed to the UCC and honor to kind fulfill their own careers. Joe Hendry is his opponent, and the two of them have a very classic sort of European-based match style match. The very much count a hold think counter hold. Hendry hits a few spam drags. You see Charlie with say hit a few super X's. He hits a northern with 8 super X super X in a double under super X. He tries a couple of um, stretches on the mat and extra but Hendry for 8 seasons back into towards the end of the match and he hits his feet forward a slam followed by um for followed by a standing ovation choke slam and gets the victory. Probably the match of the night, and I know if Sean's been there the whole week's actually tunes into this is my co-host for the Spin Streams. I know he's a big fan of that style, and yeah, was match of the night. Um, I enjoyed it. Not too sure about whether this is going to go over Charlie. See, Ch- as Charlie is kind of lost two of his, um, as Charlie's kind of lost his, uh, his, and UCC team. It's obviously by virtue of matches. Um, and yes, with this might be a moment when he snaps at the end because or the end is actually a big Henry fan, so maybe this will be a case of Ryan goes off and gets let the end done or injuries due to age, as I do think Charlie Dempsey snap, but in the back you see the darts, the 8 guys, um, and are going to threaten to change control action in the main event, but Cutler or James once again has a very bizarre line in this promo. He says, "All the hoes are gonna be on your asses," and then you're like, really? You had a similar line last week, and here is it going? Because basically you've because basically the other members of Darts, they are like, what the hell are you on about? So maybe that's a storyline where he doesn't fit in with the rest of the Darts. And I think as well, they'll be challenging Hank and Tank for the NXT Tag Championships. But then, um, but then we get to, and when we get to all of Ice and, um, and kill Annie Jordan in the back door or construct strategy about them match against Fatal influenceable of saying that they'll go and that they have to win the match and they both have aspirations of being and they both have aspirations of being NXT Women's Champion. They both hobble over on that for a bit until Ada Parker says she's got an ex, and obviously this um and obviously this our humps a bit of debate. This is unusual. Can't they should get the point? And then we get to 3-1 for and in the back they are a pro almost but of um but obviously there's balls between the three members. Jacy Jayne kind of snaps at Fallon Henry for answer and Jacy's question, and then you have Jacy sarcastically saying thanks for an answer and the question directed to me. Jasmine acts at show he faces Jacy's role. Jacy says thanks for putting this match together, Jasmine, and the asthma at you hear the tag match. This match was actually pretty decent, but before the match gets underway, you see he'd approach Jacy Jayne, and she basically he says, um, and she basically he says to Jacy to get to work for your match tonight against the and kill Annie. So basically, I think, so basically, I think the way any lead is now aligned to join Fatal Influence, as obviously her and Jacy have been interlinked since Amy Reid's debut when she actually faced Jacy Jayne for the NXT and for the NXT Women's Championship in her very first match, if you remember. But but yeah, here's where I think it's leading to. I think Amy will get recruited and get Jacy in an added use um an added use to get or the Jasmine X as we you see in the tag match. It was all to influence for the first half of the match, but then Jasmine tries to get involved. The backfires, ends up it ends up in low advice, hitting the spinning back first, knocking out Jane, and then obviously killer Annie hits him insult and gets a pin. Now personally I'd preferred advice to get the pin here. Or it's obvious trying to shape killer Annie into being the challenger, so I'm not going to argue too much about that. And obviously, it kind of gets the ball rolling even further on the Jasmine next phase is on another myth. You obviously see Asha Slamovich and Ash Bael against an attendance in the crowd, basically as onlooker was observing a match. Ash Bael against his next to challenge Jacy Jayne for the TNA Knockouts Championship match. Shasla Amovich previously held it, and then that's where Jacy Jayne beat for the belt. So you've got put into a challenge and just um and you get put into a challenge just targeting gold and for Jacy Jayne. But obviously I think the whole sort of dissension with Jasmine and Axel will will into the downfall of Jacy Jayne and the back um um obviously obviously in the back later on you see Aspire against his personal on say season. He he speaks to Eva and it's a 6 man tag match. That's about later on in the night that happens. But I just thought I'd cover it here because it overlaps and it's later confirmed by Nick Joseph to be next to in Philadelphia. In the back, you see and you see or you see Jiver on Evans um and you see Chuck Williamson over Femi talking stuff to G and have a run and a argument or once Omar or said I might not I read the study Yamapa no but then I will but then I take either dogs and obviously and obviously Java on said he tried to read about I said don't worry about me but let's get the job on although we will talk a bit about trick with are on but yeah that was a pretty interesting segment for shadowing what is to come. So the next match, so the next match of the night happens after the Jordan get a race. So the spot on sit down interview promo with FK Wick and eight share responds to eight on the rose comments. She says, but eight in the as into you all that's what I say. He goes on constantly about our works and if Jordan herself in response to you can kids questions. She said the when she was younger it wasn't about her body, it was about her mind sex, but then she came to words by saying um she came to words by saying it's not it's not strength to put in other people's weaknesses and well it can another role thing to that at heat moments. If after that for almost year this was the it another role and it as office saying um Jordan has an health calling and he and calling me and he all this will late Eva then confirms will be face to face next week in Philadelphia and but in Jordan and Aiken and Jordan Grayson Bill Aiken and another oh so that takes either that then you get the Josh and and you get the Josh Butter eggs and Momo and he says Anamura used to be my friend and you used to be my friend said but he wasn't actually a friend he yells about his stupid whatever on and after Ivan me him and next to he came child and then he's asked to street fight out comes Anam and he says out there, Asia to beat you with bad legs for a final you after and then he hits him. And then it will and then it will leads to Barrow if animal standing all and yeah it to see more arms of the street fight then we get to and then we get to Alba for higher uh, and and we get to Alba a fire versus Alba for higher versus Kenton Hurry and this match is very good. Alba for higher get some good offense and but so does Kendall get Kendall get he hits a good couple of X's and hit some around power slap. Alba for iron has really taken to the hero and added new elements that are of it and added a couple of chokes, etc. Alba fires be in around the industry for the past 10 years, maybe a bit over. Um, but she's but she's always been very talented, and she got the case to showcase herself, and this match was pretty decent as well. Alba fire hits the Ori bomb on a very game Kendall Ray and she gets a 3 count. It's nice to see Alba get a honey on a change on a show and then I'm a bigger Alba fan and in my opinion she's one of the best in the company. Don't believe everything the office actually wants to condition you if actually look at matches and you'll see what I have said to that as well. But I've been to a lot of shows here in Scotland. She's been on the card and she's always been pretty good at what she does. I was even at Ash at the Castle. She got a big woman and I've actually met Alberta Aya by virtue of Ash at the Castle weekend by the entertainer um oil shop me you can get it and I met her and I were on so I will have asked no agent Alba Fire but yeah um um but yeah um but yeah guys I really enjoyed that uh, and yeah, and it serves a purpose as well as Ethan Page comes out and he also Avion Heights, but before he was on down America because obviously he's Canadian and he basically he says and he basically he basically he says to Avion as that the you Americans got Kendall get on is a partner and she doesn't serve you Chelsea was the by Albert did me proud. Out comes Avion Heights and she says as or he as Kendall was, she's not my partner. But the end out of nowhere you see Iramis you from LFG, she's an alpinism. So she's so well, she's German so she's Alba Fire. She also German so she's Ethan Page. Age out of his shoes almost. And I think she actually, if I was me an extra eyes, I need to confirm that. But yeah, I think she was, and to be completely honest with you, she does have some talent, and it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see the in kinda um and Ash because they're both of that sort of um background and for is a wrestle and obviously Iron May is kinda like the female or as she's an Olympic gold medalist. Um so yeah there's to consider her. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the mixed tag team match. Obviously, Elsie and Ethan Page begin to shite themselves, and they basically say, well, it's inviting them to attend a peace treaty in America and Canada next to you can Philadelphia obviously for Philadelphia as the birth obviously Philadelphia as the birth home east of America. So you're doing this type of feud because Ethan Page is basically one he adopted a Canadian patriot gimmick and conduct and conjunction with being an North American champion. You have Chelsea Green, who's also a Canadian, and you also and you also have the ex-Olympians are representing America. To get the point, it's basically the age-old Canada versus America feud. But the mixed tag match will be pretty decent. Obviously you see the Obviously now see you see just Asper or Troy in the and the can he cuts a promo on the he Saints and the he say and you haven't seen the Ricky Saints much in the past and few so that's that's just bad we put together and it's the only bit of the show that I don't know because that's there's not enough of time has been put to on and obviously um Jasper or Troy says that the casing and remind him of the smug kids or one up. I hate that one. Full of arrogance. It makes my blood go oil like etc. I'm gonna show Ricky isn't what Jasper or Troy's all about. This also off and I'm coming for you Ricky Saints. So so then we get so the end when we get to the in of and eyes enemy in event as dark a hearts the gun on number na dark a and the six tags only not one on dark state versus um uh, it's actually in the 8-man tag will start again. It's dark state and an 8-man tag against and Javon Evans um, Javon Evans Obafemi Moose and Obafemi and that's match I felt was okay. It was pretty decent for what it was. Also, though it was Ori driven based than or other than in event caliber, but um obviously it was a complete back and forth match. You see um you see of you see you see Von Evans he's take control heading into the break. The Ostracova Williams over a hit toss. They do hit some of the finishing moves on top. The, but then the second half of the match sees Dark State with a point, a point three of them, and Javon Evans is in desperate need of a tag after being old trick with Williams and others, but he just hands on the outside, and then he sees Javon on Evans get or Jericho power armed and dark together and here and yeah it just actually and it just adds fuel to the fire that darks are Jericho Williams for action. But yeah, guys, not a lot to really talk about in this actually. It felt very home like on a pay-per-view. It didn't actually feel like your usual NXT that's with all a high octane stuff. There wasn't any and there wasn't anything at all. Only D'Angelo obviously with the I don't know who the shadow uh, um actually was. A lot of people are sort of connecting the ale to that, but I don't think so. I'm not really one that out total but I think it's bit of a stretch. There was no Ariana Grace and the act development, and hopefully they pick that up again soon because that sort of real life, sort of reality based storyline has intrigued me because if the two are engaged in real life and then that does seem interesting, but it wasn't a terrible show. It just didn't have the same atmosphere and excitement, but still so all within off and I will give it a 7 out of 10. And the Hank and Tank segments with the dressed up as Annie and Soulbreaker, they were off on the and they also dressed up in hazmat suits during the whole sort of argument between the four main events. The four main event us. But as I've said, um, but as I've said before, guys, I think the DNA partnership was fun, as it started, but it's becoming too very WWE dominated. So the match with Usa and Elgins could go either way, but I expect Chiric Williams to get another victory, and then that's not a knock on Chiric Williams, but at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a partnership, but it seems very one-sided and very WWE dominated because they haven't yet captured an NXT an NXT or a WWE belt yet, and it's kind of going the same way of cheered up away, but we shall see on that front. But yeah, um, but yeah, guys, um, but yeah, guys, even out of a possible, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. we'll see you all very soon. Comment down below or tell me your thoughts on the show and the channel, but be respectful of myself and other comments down below. And yeah, let's have a discussion. And I did to make a commiss in my Apple predictions. The shows at 8 a.m. start time in the UK, so I'll probably will catch up Sunday afternoon. And you'll get a review on Monday night of the Cheddar Apple pay-per-view known as Cheddar Apple the 30th of edition. But yeah, that's a slight overlook in my part because Mexico's even further behind us. But yeah, I them the breaks, I suppose. But yeah, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon.